Hello everyone, I'm Ben Contreras and welcome back to another episode of Ben Talks About, the show where I talk about stuff that not many people are talking about that much anymore, mostly due to the fact that I feel like it. Also, in this video's case, I'm trying to make up for the couple of months that I spent without making one of these type of videos, so for today's video I'm going to be talking about three major subjects that I have learned about more recently that have a somewhat of an interest to me in my personal opinion. And the very first thing that I actually would like to talk about is actually concerning a certain trailer for a new anime adaptation from a rather recent manga series that I've been trying to get into for quite a while now, and that is the trailer for the anime adaptation of Chainsaw Man right here. This series came out, I believe, only a few years ago, like a year or two ago, and more recently we've actually gotten an announcement that they're actually creating an anime adaptation of the series, or at least the very first arc of the series. I actually just recently finished collecting the entirety of the first half of the manga right here. I believe it was only like either 11 or 12 volumes for now, but there's definitely going to be a lot more, and people seem to really be going crazy for this trailer. For this, especially for this more recent trailer that came out. We got ourselves a release date, and they showed off quite a lot of what the series is mostly going to be about. It is going to be a series that seems like is something that's going to be exclusive to Crunchyroll, because of course, you know, they have to get themselves some variety and get back a lot of their fan base somehow. But yeah, the trailer definitely looks very, very interesting. It's done in a sort of style that I sort of expected, but also didn't really expect the series to have, because it has this sort of like, is almost like 2D, 3D sort of hybrid to it. Specifically whenever specifically the main character is in his actual like Chainsaw Man actual like form, his design sort of goes into this sort of where it looks like it's 2D, but it's done in like a style that's like where like the frames are like smooth enough to sort of trick you into thinking that it's a 3D model, even though it's most likely not likely a 3D model. It's kind of a bit difficult to explain, but it's just something that I sort of noticed with the trailer. All the regular human characters still look very much like a regular like 2D animated characters, and it seems like this is another example of series that are getting extremely popular very, very quickly, because a lot of the more popular anime series that are coming out right now have actually only been around for a couple of years at this point, some of them even less than. Before this, lots of people were talking about that Spy X Family series, which actually I've heard quite a few things about. And that, once its anime series came out, eventually became almost pretty much the most popular anime at the world at the time. It even surpassed supposedly surpassed Attack on Titan's final season when it was airing. Which is definitely rather interesting. It sort of begs the question on what exactly makes these series become so popular when they've only been around for so long. Like, what is it that triggers that sort of like, you know, feeling like this series is going to eventually be big. Before that, we had series like Jujutsu Kaisen or My Hero Academia, these sort of series that managed to connect with people so easily and so quickly that eventually they become even more popular than, you know, the big four shonen series were at their times. So it seems like Chainsaw Man here is going to be another example of a series that's becoming very popular very, very quickly, although in this case the anime series hasn't even come out yet and people are already hyped for it. I will definitely be trying to find some sort of way to watch the series. Hopefully if it gets some sort of like Blu-ray release or something of that nature, I will most likely consider getting it, because what I've read of the Chainsaw Man manga, it definitely does seem like a very interesting series. It's sort of like a combination of if you took series like Devilman and Parasite and Tokyo Ghoul and sort of put them all in a blender, but also cranked the sort of like not necessarily violence, but it looks a lot more like cranked up the intensity by like over 100. But aside from that, the story itself is actually very interesting. I won't go into really spoiler territory, but it is definitely something that I'm definitely going to be looking forward to. Speaking of trailers for stuff I've been looking forward to, one of the things that has actually been in my mind for quite a while now is more specifically the first few trailers we've had for the brand new 3D installment in the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, now titled Sonic Frontiers. When this game was first announced, I'm not quite sure if I've mentioned this before in videos before, but the initial trailers gave off the impression that this Sonic game was going to be going on the sort of open world kind of binge that a lot of game series have been going into. Or at least that's what the first few trailers sort of gave that impression of. But eventually we got more announcements of how the gameplay is going to be, how and an overall idea of what the story is also going to be like. The game definitely seems like it's going to be rather unique, and it does seem like they're trying to give us the impression that like this is going to be like the Sonic game that sort of like quote unquote fix Sonic's 3D career, because ever since the release of after Sonic Generations came out, a lot of the 3D Sonic games that have come out more recently, like Sonic Lost World, Sonic Boom, and most recently Sonic Forces, a lot of those games have gotten rather mediocre to straight up negative feedback from people, and a lot of people are starting to think that this game right here, Sonic Frontiers, is going to be Sega's final attempt at making a 3D Sonic game that people are all going to equally enjoy. The gameplay itself looks rather interesting. There definitely seems like they're going for they're trying to do something that is very similar to what Forces tried to do, try to mix the regular boost style gameplay that the 3D Sonic games have been using since Sonic Unleashed, and combining that with like these sort of like action set pieces that Sonic Forces tried to do, and to an extent Sonic Boom tried to do, but less said about that game the better. It seems like they're trying to put more effort into these specific things, which I think is very good on them, because again, a lot of the past few 3D Sonic games have not been very well received. So, but I feel like a lot of the stuff they attempted to try and do, I thought they did well enough. It was just a matter of everything else not being up to snuff compared to the other past 3D Sonic games like Colors and Generations. The most recent trailer, however, has given us more of what a sort of idea of what the story is going to be, in massive quotes there, because the trailer stuff was still around 60% gameplay. One thing that I actually noticed from the past few trailers, and this trailer specifically, is one, we have not seen any trace of Dr. Eggman, which makes me wonder whether or not he's going to actually be a relevant character in the story, which if that's not the case, that's probably going to be one of the first Sonic games that doesn't have Dr. Eggman as the main villain. And two, it seems like this trailer actually gave Sonic a new voice, because he's been, Sonic's 3D voice tends to fluctuate quite a lot from one series of 3D games to the next and then to the next, which is kind of odd because Sonic's more recent voice that he's had since from Sonic Colors to Sonic Forces I've actually gotten rather used to. It's one of those his voice was one that seemed like he still had that sort of high pitched kind of tone that Sonic had without being like overly like, I'm not quite sure if cartoonish is the correct word, but it's the same. But it's not it's not that sort of tone that, like, say the 4Kids version of Sonic the Hedgehog had from Shadow the Hedgehog to Sonic Unleashed. But yeah, it just seems rather odd that they would give him a brand new voice. But yeah, this is going to be the first time we're seeing him in this sort of voice, so it's probably just going to be a matter of time before the game comes out and eventually we get used to hearing him with his new voice. One thing I definitely want to discuss is if this is going to be the one of the last few attempts that Sega is going to try to make with 3D Sonic. Hopefully this game does well enough, because I feel like 3D Sonic the Hedgehog has been very underappreciated. Sure, the past few titles have not been very well received, but it's not like we're in a situation, we're not like in a Sonic 06 situation where it seems like the 3D Sonic series was dead at that point. Because eventually we got, its revival with, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Colors, and Sonic Generations. So it was, what, um, while the past few games have not been very well received, I feel like that's not really enough to kill the entire franchise, as many people seem to think, because we still have several other games in the series. We have Sonic Mania did incredibly well, probably one of the best-selling Sonic games they've had in quite a while. We had the HD re-release of Sonic Colors, which was definitely a decent enough attempt to try and bring that game that was very well received to modern systems. Although that game did have its fair share of issues. And then we also had the Sonic Origins collection, which was the compilation of all the original classic Sonic games from Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3D, and Sonic 3. And while those titles do have certain issues as well, I feel like there is still the matter of the fact that, Sega still cares about Sonic the Hedgehog. It's their most popular franchise for a specific reason. So, I feel like this game, no matter what, is going to sell well enough to the point where it's not going to necessarily kill the franchise. And from what we have seen of the trailers, it does seem like Sega is trying to put as much effort into this game as possible. And we still have a couple of months before the game eventually comes out, so whether or not they decide to announce more is going to be up to them. But still, I'm rather looking forward to this title. I've always been a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog, so no matter what exactly happens, I'm still going to be there to support him in some form or another. And now the third and final thing I wanted to discuss was the more recent trailers we've gotten for the newest generation of the Pokemon franchise, which is Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. I've made a few videos concerning the release of this game. I did the videos of originally it being announced, as well as these things I would like to see be implemented into the game. The most recent trailers that they've given us so far seems to have been one that was focused more so on gameplay. They gave us more information on the new abilities that certain Pokemon are going to have, and it has more to do with people who fight in the competitive scene. I'm, of course, not a competitive Pokemon player. I'm just one who likes playing the game for the story and the kind of stuff you would have in a single player sort of experience, because that's just what I know Pokemon for. So from the rest of what we've seen in some of the previous trailers, it definitely seems like we're getting more and more gameplay that is similar to Legends Arceus that had come out not too long ago, where we're going to be having this open world where there's going to be multiple things to do. It seemed one of the things they showed off was the fact that there are different tasks that you can do as a trainer, and of course one of them being going through all of the different gyms and collecting all the badges. It seems like they're going to allow it so that you're allowed to do the gyms in any sort of order you want to, which is rather interesting, because one of the things that lots of people have been discussing have been the idea of doing gyms in any order you choose to, and having their teams being centered around how far you are in in the game itself. So the team that you would have if you fought a gym leader first would be different compared to if you fought them as like your last gym leader, which is a very cool idea. And it seems like they're also doing a lot of stuff to make it feel more like an open world experience, similar to Legends Arceus. A lot of the type of barriers that some of the stuff some of the previous games had, they're trying to get rid of. One of them is, of course, getting rid of, only being limited to doing gyms in like a specific order. Granted, there have been times where you are able to, in the previous generations, do some of the gym leaders out of order, but otherwise, most of the time you're going through a specifically like set path, and usually there's something that blocks your way until you get that gym fight done and over with. It seems like they're trying to get rid of that, which I definitely do appreciate. It allows the player to have a lot more freedom. One of the things they also seem to have not showed us yet is that while they have showed quite a lot of the new Pokemon that are going to be exclusive to this region, it does seem like they're going to be relying a lot more on previous generation Pokemon. A lot of the Pokemon we've seen in the trailers that weren't like specifically highlighted were ones that were from, like, say, Generation 4, which, definitely makes sense why they would advertise the Generation 4 Pokemon, because we just recently had the remakes of Diamond and Pearl, and of course, Legends Arceus is centered around, the Sinnoh, centered around Pokemon that were originally from, the Sinnoh region. So it definitely makes sense for them to do so, but I still hope that the older Pokemon don't overshadow the new Pokemon they've been releasing. Speaking of which, the most recent trailer so far has given us just one new Pokemon that's going to be debuting in this region, and it definitely seems like they have quite a lot of similarities to the boxed legendaries that are going to be the mascots of both Scarlet and Violet. So there's definitely going to be some sort of segment in the story where that kind of Pokemon is either some sort of like descendant of these two legendaries, or they're going to pull a Sun and Moon situation where this Pokemon becomes one or the other, depending on which version you buy, of course. That's just a personal theory on what the something that's going to happen in the story. Speaking of which, aside from one of the gym leaders and the professors, which we're actually getting version exclusive professors, which is kind of interesting, we haven't seen any sort of like designated like rival character. We've only seen one of the gym leaders, and we have had no traces of what the evil team is going to be like, which is slightly concerning, because I feel like the idea of like evil teams is one of the main traditions that most people really enjoy in Pokemon, and I feel like the last few generations have not really done them justice. The last time there really was an evil team that was seen as like a threat was Team Flare from Pokemon X and Y, because Sun and Moon had had the Ether Foundation, who were the main villains. Meanwhile, the main villain team in the game, Team Skull, were basically relegated to a sort of background. And then with Sword and Shield, it got even worse, because Team Yell was quite literally a group of background characters who were just there to cheer on one of your rivals in the game. So I feel like they should bring back the idea of evil teams, because while this game, again, is trying to break a lot of the traditions of the Pokemon franchise, the series has been trying to do so for quite a while now. Ever since they went 3D, they've been trying to slowly but surely get rid of certain mechanics. It all started when they completely got rid of the idea of HMs and, things that just made the older games a lot more tedious to get through. They've been trying to get rid of. So I feel like entirely getting rid of something that has been in the series since its inception for the sake of breaking tradition. While that may seem like a good idea on paper, it does seem like there are some traditions that shouldn't really be tampered with, and I feel like the idea of evil teams being like a major threat rather than just being somewhat a group of people in the background is definitely one of the things that I feel like shouldn't happen. So if they do eventually announce what the evil team will be, if there is going to be an evil team, I'm definitely gonna be a lot more relieved if that's the case. But either way, I am definitely going to be getting these games when they come out. And eventually I will be doing a video, a sort of first impressions video on it. But again, we like the Sonic Frontier, we still have a few more months. I believe it's until November when it comes out. So we still we still got a few months to see whether or not they announce more of the game. So yeah, those are the major 3 trailers that I've been wanting to discuss for quite a while now. Hopefully you all enjoyed this little trilogy of segments on this episode of Ben Talks About. I really enjoyed discussing my opinions with all of you, and until I see you all next time with whatever topic I decide to do, whether or not it's actually going to be more relevant is up to chance. But until I see you all next time, I am Ben Contreras, and bye.